SFFA. How did we get here? Well, I'm going to break this down. The Supreme Court of the United States ruled in Students for Fair Admissions versus President and Fellows of Harvard College that the Equal Protection Amendment makes race-based considerations for Harvard Math Department unconstitutional. Let's go back in time to when the United States used the quota system. On the quota system, you would leave slots and spots for specified percentages of underrepresented groups at your institution. We need at least 25% of our students to be African American and 50% to be women, a college or field of employment might say. The quota system was ruled unconstitutional by Regents of University of California versus Bakke in 1978. But Bakke did allow affirmative action. If two candidates are equally qualified for a college, university, or a job, and one of the candidates is from a race or sex that is underrepresented in the job or field of study, you can pick the underrepresented candidate and you don't run afoul of the Equal Protection Clause. Now, in 2003, this got challenged, and it went all the way up to the Supreme Court again. But in Grutter versus Bollinger, it was ruled that just as colleges use athletics and legacy status as factors considered in admissions, colleges can use race as a factor in deciding who and who is not admitted. That brings us back to Students for Fair Admissions versus Harvard Fellows. According to that ruling, affirmative action is constitutional only if it passes the test of strict scrutiny, meaning its goal is a compelling interest of the state, and that it is narrowly tailored to meet that goal, avoids racial stereotypes, and provides a logical endpoint. Now, if I have this right, according to the Roberts Court, affirmative action fails on all three of these conditions. Remember how strict scrutiny says that it has to have a goal that's a compelling interest of the state. Well, the Supreme Court says if the goal of affirmative action is diversity of ideas, affirmative action does not pass this test because there's no way to measure whether having people of different races or genders or sex and ethnicities produces a more robust classroom discussion. They can't prove that. It also has to have a logical endpoint, but the majority opinion says there is no logical endpoint to affirmative action. That is, there's no reason to believe these universities will ever stop using race-conscious considerations when evaluating applicants. Note, in her dissenting response to this, Justice Sotomayor objects that it will stop once the U.S. in fact has K-12 schools that are no longer segregated by race. You got to get that in place, and then the effects kick in from that. Now, of course, it's been a lot of years. We've never accomplished that, but she thinks that that would be the timetable for the end of affirmative action. So it may take a while, but it's not that there's no endpoint on her view. But the High Court's ruling is that it looks like this is never coming to an end. You'll just keep doing this forever. The majority opinion also claims affirmative action relies on racial stereotypes. I'm not sure why I didn't catch that in listening to the arguments made. At the time of this writing, 2024, there is controversy over whether SCOTUS even eliminated race-conscious affirmative action. After all, they did not say Grutter is overturned, as they did about Roe v. Wade in Dobbs, and they even cited Grutter as precedent for part of their decision. But it doesn't seem like too much of affirmative action can be left. In the court majority opinion, Roberts says race can no longer be a consideration, and that universities cannot use loopholes to get around this either. Why didn't the court overturn Grutter? That's a mystery too. In any case, that's how we got where we are. with affirmative action. I had the Wayne's World joke.
Well, that's no surprise at all.
You know, Kenny, if you got so many jokes, why don't you